back. The news goes on. Now, moving on, the National Dialogue Committee was established to resolve a political crisis occasioned by street demonstrations called by Azimio leader Raila Odinga to protest against the high cost of living, electoral injustices, and the reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC), among other issues. The Odinga-led demonstrations compelled the government to set up the Dialogue Committee to resolve an impasse which was draining billions from Kenya's already fragile economy. The negotiations committee started its work against the backdrop of public pessimism about the commitment of the top leadership of the two coalitions to the cause, as Ann Odida now reports.
Zakayo asuke chini. Hii maandamano hatutaki mambo ya break.
Na nimeambia mambo ni mangapi? Matatu.
We are talking about the unity of the people of Mount Kenya. The genesis of the bipartisan talks came at a time when a political crisis prevailed for a year since the time the then Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the president-elect, an announcement that would cause a rift in the commission itself and expulsion of 4 commissioners better known as Cherera 4.
I, Wafula Chebukati, chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, hereby declares that Ruto William Samoei of ID number 6847208 has been duly elected as the president.
March 20th, 2023 saw the onset of Kenya's opposition party protest against the government that would degenerate into looting and deadly clashes between security forces and demonstrators and paralyze the running of businesses in the country for the 4 months of protest. On the list of demands for the first phase of Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition protest that began on 20th March, 27th March and 30th March included refusal by President Ruto to allow the audit of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission servers, high cost of living after the government eliminated subsidies, nepotism in the Kenya Kwanza administration, and failing to consult other stakeholders in the reconstitution of IEBC. A few days before the coalition embarked on a 3-day protest, President William Ruto held a briefing with the media on April 2nd, asking the opposition leader Raila Odinga and other opposition leaders to call off the mass protests and give a bipartisan parliamentary engagement a chance, a call that Odinga gave into just a few hours after the president's address.
In view of the recent events that led to loss of life and destruction of property in the demonstrations that have occasioned in our country for the last 2 weeks, I urge my brother Raila Odinga and the opposition to call off the demonstrations and to give this bipartisan approach a chance.
We acknowledge Mr. Ruto's olive branch for the dialogue on key issues raised by Azimio la Umoja. To us, this is a positive development.
After attempts to hold the first phase of the bipartisan talks, Azimio withdrew from the offer, stating that President William Ruto's team exhibited bad faith from the beginning of the process that was set to bring together 14 members of parliament.
When it became clear that there was lack of good faith on the part of our friends, we were instructed by the parliamentary group to suspend the talks and withdraw. And that is what we did.
On May 2nd, the second phase of protest began, with Odinga encouraging his followers to oppose the high cost of living and to demand for the opening of the IEBC servers, as well as the return of IEBC commissioners who had been expelled.
We are marching on. Tomorrow we take a break, strategize and recharge. Our protest will resume on Thursday, the 4th of May. Same meeting, same offices, same petition, same people.
The Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition called off the protest a day later after the ruling Kenya Kwanza-led government ceded to their demands to withdraw Eldas Member of Parliament Adan Keynan from its bipartisan talks team. In his place, Saku Member of Parliament Dido Raso was picked. After a 2-month break, Azimio announced the resumption of protest on July 7 on the historic Sabasaba Day, this time to protest against the high cost of living and punitive taxes relayed on the Finance Act 2023, protest that would later be witnessed for 3 consecutive days and would later grab the attention of international communities and a call for dialogue. On July 25th, Odinga revealed that Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu had visited Kenya in an effort to unite the two warring political divides, but the government side did not show up, perhaps a revelation that would lead to President William Ruto's next gesture. A few hours later, Ruto lowered his nets by sending the leader of the opposition his proposal for talks for the second time, saying that he is ready whenever Odinga is ready, to which the opposition leader responded that he will not hold a dialogue with President William Ruto unless there is a third party to mediate between them. The new round of talks was then agreed upon a few days after President Ruto and opposition leader Raila Odinga held the first of a series of talks that was mediated by former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo with the intention to lay the groundwork for the dialogue.
We sanctioned a meeting between our leadership and that of Kenya Kwanza under the facilitation of His Excellency Olusegun Obasanjo.
On August 1st, after their parliamentary group meeting, the Azimio coalition stated that it was ready for talks with President William Ruto-led Kenya Kwanza coalition. On the same day of their address, the coalition came up with a team that will take on the Kenya Kwanza side in the talks, led by Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who was to be joined by Eugene Wamalwa, Ugunja Member of Parliament and National Assembly's Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi, Nyamira Senator Okongo Mogeni, and Malindi MP Amina Mnyazi.
We have absolute faith with the team and ask that every member of the coalition to give them the necessary support.
In a swift rejoinder, Kenya Kwanza said in a statement that Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah would lead its team, which would include Senate Majority Leader Aaron Cheruiyot, Embu Governor Cecily Mbarire, Hassan Omar, and Bungoma County Woman Representative Catherine Wambilianga. Kenya Kwanza also issued their demands for the talks, including the reconstitution of the IEBC, the implementation of the 2/3 gender rule, establishment of the opposition leader's official office, entrenchment of the Constituency Development Fund, and the embedding of the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office. This to counter the Azimio demands in the second phase of the talks, which included the high cost of living, an audit of the 2022 general election, inclusivity in national affairs, bipartisan reconstitution of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, and the respect of political parties in line with the Constitution. During a special sitting held on Tuesday, August 29, senators unanimously voted to approve the National Dialogue Committee, a team that was made up of 10 members to represent the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, constituting the majority party of the Parliament of Kenya, and Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party, a coalition forming the minority party of the Parliament of Kenya.
The mandate of the National Dialogue Committee shall be to facilitate dialogue and consensus building and to recommend appropriate constitutional, legal and policy reforms on issues of concern to the people of Kenya to be framed by the National Dialogue Committee in line with the Constitution and the laws of the Republic of Kenya.
After a period of submission of memorandums from various groups and proposals they wanted to be considered during the talks, including the Parliamentary Service Commission, Homa Bay Interface Community Health Desk, former Busia Senator Amos Wako, Kenya Institute for Public Research Analysis, Public Service Commission, Trans Nzoia County Communities Council, Information Communication Technology Association of Kenya, Council of Governors, and lawmakers including Senators Ledama Olekina, Enoch Wambua, and Tom Ojenda, the National Dialogue Committee NADCO resumed its sitting at the Bomas of Kenya on October 2nd, 2023. In a notice of motion presented by National Assembly leader Kimani Ichung'wah, the committee requested to present its report to President William Ruto and Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga on or before November 26. The talks took a period of 90 days, inclusive of the time it began to receive participation from the public and stakeholders engagement on August 14. On the night of November 25th, The committee, led by Azimio's Kalonzo Musyoka and Kenya Kwanza's Kimani Ichung'wah, sent the report to President Ruto and the opposition chief, which Ruto endorsed and applauded the committee's 4-month effort.
I want to congratulate all the teams that were involved in the dialogue process. They have come up with recommendations. I have seen the recommendations. They are in good stead. All the recommendations they have made, they are practical. We are going to work on those recommendations.
Opposition, on the other hand, termed the report as imperfect and incomplete, saying that the Kenya Kwanza side of the committee failed to agree to their proposals concerning the high cost of living, which was the reason for the formation of the committee.
It is ultimately imperfect and unfinished, but it is a good beginning. We have agreed to disagree on the most important matter to us. We made what we believed were reasonable proposals on how to address the rising cost of living.
The committee had agreed on key agenda of the talks, but referred disputed issues for further consultations. Among issues that were agreed upon included creation of the post of official opposition leader with 2 deputies, entrenching the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office into law, audit of the 2022 electoral process, increase of timelines within which the Supreme Court shall hear and determine a petition challenging the validity of a presidential election from 14 days to 21 days, among others. While releasing the report, the committee noted its failure to agree on the scrapping of the housing levy and the reduction of VAT on fuel from 16% to 8%. The NADCO report was, however, not agreed upon by other Azimio leaders, including Azimio core principal Martha Karua, who noted that the main cause for demonstrations was barely addressed, claiming that the report was a fraud only set to benefit leaders. Eugene Wamalo was also a member of the dialogue committee, also disagreed with the final report, highlighting its failure to thoroughly address what he termed as the most important issue raised by Kenyans. Anodida, KUTV.
Zakayo asuke chini. Hii maandamano hatutaki mambo ya break.
Na nimeambia mambo ni mangapi? 3.